Joe Biden has finally responded to the email scandal. When a local journalist asked a question, Joe Biden said it's just a smear campaign and Rudy Giuliani is Trump's henchman. And he gave some false answers that I can easily debunk. We are getting ready for the Donald Trump-Joe Biden debate tomorrow. And Joe Biden has been hiding in his basement, figuratively and literally, for the past several days, calling a lid, I believe it was on Monday, until Thursday, which is unprecedented. We are less than 2 weeks away from the official election date, even though I believe something like 35 million people have already voted. So the election's happening now. But at a time when Joe Biden's supposed to be campaigning, he's hiding. Sorry, man. I just got to say, with this email scandal taking off, Joe Biden just running and hiding and then giving these really awful answers and now praising that the debate moderators will cut the microphone of Donald Trump when he's being interrupted, when he gets interrupted. It sounds like Joe Biden doesn't want to win. It sounds like they're trying to make it seem like they want to win, but they really don't want to win, or they're just so insanely inept. I can't help but predict a Donald Trump victory. That's right. We've got a lot of new polls coming out. The polls in Florida and Pennsylvania, the averages are tightening, and early voter turnout is not looking good in many states. Now in Pennsylvania, early voter for Democrats is really, really good. Apocalyptic for Republicans. But voter registration for Republicans is beating Democrats 2-1. I got to say, man, I think Joe Biden is in serious trouble. And that's probably why he went to hide in the basement. Well, let's read this story and we will debunk Joe Biden's official response. And he finally responded. This should be big news, but come on, you know he's going to give some BS answer. From the Daily Mail. It's a last-ditch effort to smear me and my family. There is no basis to this. Joe Biden breaks silence on Hunter's laptop, calling Rudy Giuliani Trump's henchman in preview of how he will deal with the issue at the debate. It's not going to work. Getting a local journalist who is not going to push hard questions, Donald Trump is going to hammer Joe relentlessly on this. Donald Trump better be prepared because Trump screwed up in the first debate, missing his cues because he got all hot and bothered. So I'll tell you what, maybe it'll be a good thing that they will mute Trump's mic because we want to hear Biden speak because he can't. And maybe then Trump will be collected and say X, Y, and Z, answer. And then Joe Biden will have 2 minutes. And what's he going to do? You know what Joe Biden did during the first debates? He would start rambling incoherently and then just go, oh, my time's done. Sorry. Like the only candidate to do that. My time's over. Oh, sorry, I'll stop now. Yeah, because he didn't have anything to say. Former Vice President Joe Biden ripped a Republican senator who has used his committee perch to probe Biden's son and blasted Rudy Giuliani for peddling garbage in his most extensive comment since the release of information said to be from Hunter Biden's laptop. It is, as far as I know, confirmed by multiple sources now, man. Said to be. Biden doing local TV interviews from his Delaware home exploded when WSIN, a Wisconsin ABC affiliate, brought up the subject. Well, I'll first say bravo to the local journalist for actually asking the question. He called it a desperate campaign to smear him. The angry pushback comes a day before Biden is to face President Trump on a debate stage in Nashville, with Trump gearing up to accuse his rival of corruption on stage, just like he did 4 years ago. My friends, have you been following the prediction models and the polls and the weird stories that are emerging? Does it not feel like a complete rerun from 2016? Remember when Anthony Weiner's laptop came out? It was at September of 2016, I think. And then there was, the emails got released, or not the emails, but he had access to Hillary's emails, a big email scandal for Hillary Clinton. Now we have the Hunter Biden email scandal. The polls were showing Hillary Clinton up 16 points. Now the polls are showing Joe Biden up 16 points. The polls started to tighten as we got closer and closer to election day, and the polls once again are doing the same thing. Then Anthony Weiner got in trouble for illicit photos he had on his laptop, and now Hunter Biden apparently has illicit photos on his laptop. It is a replay. The writers of 2020, what are you doing? You're phoning it in. Come on, give us an original script here. I think Trump's going to win, man. I really do. We'll see, though. The TV reporter asked Biden about Johnson's efforts as chair of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, which last month issued a lengthy report on Hunter Biden corruption. Wisconsin's Republican Senator Ron Johnson put out a statement on Homeland Security letterhead, saying Hunter Biden, together with other Biden family members, profited off the Biden name. Reporter Adrienne Peterson said, "Bravo to this journalist." She asked Biden if there was any legitimacy to what Johnson was claiming. "None whatsoever," Biden fumed. "This is the same garbage Rudy Giuliani, Trump's henchman. It's a last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family." Then he noted that GOP Senator Mitt Romney of Utah had criticized the committee's actions to dig into the Bidens. Well, Mitt Romney is a crony rhino. He is a crony establishment politician. And you know what? Many of these guys are. But at least some of them are being forced to whip into shape. Even the man who served with him on that committee, the former nominee to the Republican Party, said there's no basis to this. I'm sorry, Joe, but the FBI and the DOJ have acknowledged the existence of the laptop. And it seems like multiple sources, Just the News and Fox and the New York Post, have corroborated that these emails are real. So maybe try again. After the vast majority of the intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all. Ron should be ashamed of himself. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? This is the story I cited earlier today. And they straight up say, the senior law enforcement official told Just the News that the FBI is in possession of the laptop, and the Bureau concurs with the Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe's assessment that the laptop is not part of a Russian intelligence operation, as some Democrats have alleged. That official, the official declined to discuss the contents of the laptop. So, Joe, when you come on and say the vast majority of intelligence people have said there's no basis, wrong. You're lying. Joe's desperate. He really is. You know, Joe had an out here. He did. He could have said something very, very simple. I had a good son. I had a great son, Beau Biden, who lost his life, and it was tragic and unfortunate. And I have another son who's troubled, and his troubles are no secret to the American people. He struggled with addiction, impropriety, and yes, off of the name Biden, he has received lucrative deals of which I had nothing to do with. And more importantly, you know, trying to be a good dad, protecting his only son following the death of, his other son. Joe Biden could have come out and just said, I would do anything for my child. And it breaks my heart, the troubles he faces. And I hope America can recognize that I'm just trying to do the right thing for everyone. Joe Biden could have done that. Imagine how he could have weaponized this. He didn't. Because these people don't understand how to be real and just tell people. Instead, they got to get all hot and bothered and get all angry. I remember I had a friend during Occupy Wall Street, went on Sean Hannity and got all combative. It's like, no, dude, just admit it. Own up to your mistakes. Be real for once. I got a messed up kid, man. I love him to death, but man, he's got problems. And yes, he's getting jobs because his name is Biden. Everybody knows it. It would be ridiculous to say otherwise. But it doesn't reflect on me, right? That's what he could have said. He could have said, I've tried my best, and sometimes your best just isn't enough. And then he could have said some praise for Hunter. He's lived an extraordinary life. He's got a good family. And for all of his mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But instead, he just lies. He lies. He lies. And no, it doesn't work. He could have taken that opportunity. He didn't. After the New York Post reported on information Rudy Giuliani says came from Hunter's laptop, Johnson said his committee was investigating and had met with a whistleblower. Wow. The angry pushback comes days after the Biden family briefly teed off on a CBS reporter who asked him about the reports. I know you'd ask, Biden said. I have no response. Another smear campaign right up your alley. Those are the questions you always ask. How much do we have to deal with for the fake, disgusting BS that comes out about Donald Trump, about his family, about Brett Kavanaugh when all that went down? I am sick of it. The Trump family, far from perfect. The Trump family, they got their skeletons. And I'm more than happy to entertain any legitimate criticism, but all it is in media every single day. And then Joe Biden, like some pathetic loser hiding in his basement, goes, how dare you ask me one question? What do you think everyone else goes through? Donald Trump, the Republicans, conservatives, getting smeared every single day. How many times has Donald Trump been asked to denounce white supremacy? It is annoying to me. I remember watching the Samantha Guthrie thing, and I'm like, I don't care about this. Ask Trump about health care. Come on, that's the issue we want to know about. And she did, and they did. But they waste so much time on this, I'm going to own the Trump, and I'm going to yell at him. And then Joe Biden gets asked one question and barfs all over him. He's like, oh, how dare you ask me? Imagine if we had actual journalists asking Joe Biden any questions. Vice President Biden. When you were vice president, how many new wars did we get entangled in? You destabilized Libya, and now the slave trade has returned. Why should the American people trust you on foreign policy? Donald Trump has 3 historic peace agreements. Then you let him answer. And you don't argue with him, you let him answer. And if he doesn't give you a satisfactory answer, you can do a follow-up. Instead, what do we get? You get Joe Biden asked a question, and he goes, oh, haram, and they say, I'm so sorry for asking, Joe. Because they're playing with kid gloves. With Trump, they just mock and belittle and insult. They view Trump as an outsider, as somebody who has nothing to do with them, and they don't care. And it's obvious. I'm going to take you back in time to the story of Trump eating a well-done steak with ketchup. I remember this one because it is one of the most important examples of exactly what we see. Donald Trump went to a fancy restaurant and had some very fancy dry-aged steak, and he ordered it well done with ketchup. And the media mocked and laughed. What a fool. What a moron. You don't eat a fancy steak with ketchup. Well done. How gross. And then it reminded me of when I was a kid and we were eating gutter steaks from the grocery store for $1 or whatever. And you cooked them well done and slopped ketchup on it. Why? Because we were poor and we couldn't afford dry aged filet mignon. Although sometimes we did get a treat. You know, we weren't that worse off or poorly. But sometimes we would get some good medium rare meat. But for the most part, yeah. I remember seeing that story and I thought to myself, how many working class poor people hear that and they say, why are you insulting me? Right? Why are you insulting me? I like steak well done with ketchup. Why are you making fun of Trump? Trump eats at McDonald's a lot and they make fun of him for it. And then regular people say, I eat at McDonald's all the time. Why are they making fun of this guy? Trump's a billionaire. But boy, does he know how to be authentic. And sometimes he lies and sometimes he's wrong. But you just know he's like this is what a lot of people said about George W. Bush, too. He talks like a regular guy. We don't want these fake plastic politicians. Obama was supposed to be that charismatic leader, but he was not. Well, he was charismatic for sure, but he was another crony establishment Democrat. And now we get this, and I see the same exact thing. So I got to get into this. Biden basically says, they mentioned this up top. Biden called the claim that Hunter profited off his name garbage and called it part of a smear. Biden avoided questions on the topic at an ABC town hall, but snapped at a CBS reporter when questioned. Well, I bring you now to the Daily Caller. Joe Biden denies that Hunter profited off his family ties. Hunter said the exact opposite last year. Daily Caller pulled the video. It's so obvious. In the video, Hunter Biden basically says, he's asked, did you profit off of your name? Like, do you think you would have been hired if your name wasn't Biden by Burisma? And he said, I don't know. Probably not. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden said in an interview Tuesday, there was no basis whatsoever to say that his son Hunter profited off of his family name. A claim which the younger Biden contradicted in an interview last year. Joe Biden was asked in an interview with Wisconsin TV station WSIN. We know this because I just read through it. Biden said it's garbage, blah, blah, blah. Despite Joe Biden's remarks, Hunter acknowledged in an interview on October 15th, 2019, that he believes he was asked to join the board of Burisma because of his father was vice president. Quote, if your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma? I don't know. Probably not in retrospect, Biden said in an interview. I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life if my last name wasn't Biden. Adding, because my dad was vice president of the U.S., there's literally nothing as a young man or a full-grown adult that my father in some way hasn't had influence over. And you know what? I can respect Hunter's response there. I can respect the honesty, the reality. Yeah, man, it's just the way it is. And Joe could have been authentic, but he's not. Joe Biden is a lying, gaffe-prone plastic politician who for 47 years found ways to enrich himself, his friends, and his family off of public office. I reject this. Donald Trump is a boorish, lascivious old man who won't shut up and character defects, to say the least. The economy was good. Middle Eastern peace deals are good. Far from perfect on foreign policy, but that economy was great for the American people. Getting our troops out of Afghanistan and Iraq is great for the American people and the world. And these peace agreements are as well. I saw a photo, man, the other day. A direct flight from Bahrain to Tel Aviv. Wow. Do you know what that means? I mean, these countries didn't even think Israel existed. Like they said, it's not a real country. Trump has got good things going for him. Biden, to his credit, he was vice president when they got Osama. And I can respect there are things that have been done during the Obama administration that are respectable. And there are things that I really, really don't like. And it's really easy to remember the negative and not the positive. So that's a fair point. Maybe I am a little biased for sure. But what I see is Trump as this really nasty guy. He's mean, he's nasty, he's boorish, lewd and lascivious, all of these things. And, he said some things that I really just don't like. He mocked body slamming a reporter. I don't like that. He recently came out and said that the marshals who were arresting that Antifa guy knew who he was and didn't want to arrest him. So in 15 minutes, it was over. And he said before, we need retribution, implying this guy was killed and they didn't want to bring him in. I really, really detest this, and I find it psychotic and terrifying. I'll tell you what. What do I look at when I see Joe Biden? The crony establishment, the indefinite detention provision, prosecuting whistleblowers and journalists, foreign incursions, drone strikes in Yemen, extrajudicial assassinations of American citizens. I don't like any of that. And so I think Trump is far from perfect, and I can criticize his rhetoric. We needed to bring that Antifa guy in to put him on trial so the American people could hear what he had to say. And so we knew these people existed and are a threat. Instead, the marshals killed him. But the official story from the DOJ is the dude had a gun. And we know he had a gun because he killed a guy and he had a gun. So, I'm not surprised. Trump is far from perfect. But Trump was a billionaire who was losing money to become president versus Joe Biden, who was working class Joe from Scranton, who's become a millionaire following a life in public office. And that I don't like. I guess fine. When people leave office, they make a ton of money, and you can argue it's because of books and appearances and all that stuff. Sure, he was the VP. Maybe he knew that. Or maybe he was pulling favors, and they said, once you leave office. But more importantly, in the email exchanges we've seen, it is confirmed by an email recipient to Fox News that Hunter Biden, we assume it was Hunter Biden H, somebody with the name H, probably Hunter, was going to be holding equity in their name for Joe Biden in a Chinese equity firm. Okay, so that's unacceptable. I want to go back. There's a lot more I need to get to, talking about the debates and stuff. I guess we're not going to get to it. But, Biden is saying muting the mics at the debate is a good idea. We need more limitations. Joe is scared. He is scared. He is a coward. He was hiding in his basement while rioters were tearing down our cities. That is not what we need for this country. And I got to be honest, we need something better than Trump, dramatically better than Trump. But I'll tell you this, with an economy as good as it was, for all of the bad that Trump brings, there was 10 times the good the American people got to experience across the board. Unemployment in the black community was at record lows. The Latino community, the economy for everybody was booming. And it's still as bad as it is. People still feel like they're better off now than they were 4 years ago. I think Trump needs to win to finish out these 4 years, not 4 terms. Although Trump has made the joke 12 more years. And then we have an opportunity after the establishment, crony, crooked people are gone to actually have politicians who care and speak to the people about what the people want. The elitists, they don't care about what the people need or want. They care about their buddies. They care about the elites. And there's a certain, look, we don't want elitism. We want meritocracy for the skilled, the elites of skill and merit to have the ability to help guide us. And for people who don't want to be leaders, and there's many who don't, to be able to work their jobs, live their lives, and be safe and comfortable knowing that there are strong leaders who are there to protect them. That's the way I view this world. I've talked to a lot of people. I made a lot of statements about standing up, speaking out, starting your own company. And I hear from so many people, I don't want to run my own company. I just want a good job helping someone else with their vision so that I can get by. I respect that. I absolutely do. Not everybody wants to be the person storming into battle on horseback with their sword drawn, leading the charge. Some want to know that the most capable individual is giving them the advice they need to do the job properly. Not everybody is a leader. And that doesn't mean it's bad. You don't have to be a leader. In fact, a leader is only as good as the people who are there to help him. The leader has that vision. And there are a lot of people that want that. Our politicians were supposed to be those leaders who said, I will do my best to make sure that you are safe, protected, secure, and I will be the person leading the charge on the front line. And for decades, what do we get instead? Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the perfect example of somebody who wants to be in office for power. He doesn't want to run for office to help people as a career politician. He's not somebody who was a regular working guy who saw his calling and said, I need to do something. He's a career politician. He doesn't want to be the person leading the charge. He wants to siphon resources from regular people, get into office and protect himself. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of the biggest reasons he's so desperate to get in and the Democrats are so desperate to get him elected is because they're really worried about what happens if Donald Trump gets another 4 years. They tried to jam Trump up with the Russiagate nonsense and impeachment. It didn't work. And now Trump has the Durham probe moving forward. If Joe Biden loses, if Donald Trump, and now Donald Trump has the Durham probe moving forward. If Trump loses, Joe Biden will end the investigation of the corrupt politicians. Maybe that's why the Durham probe isn't coming out. Maybe Trump will start hammering in, you need to reelect me, otherwise the Durham probe is over. And these people get away with it. Trump has been yelling, Bill Barr, indict these people. And he's not done it. Maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. I'll tell you what, man. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the corrupt elitist system. I want to see a real change. I want to see authentic individuals. I want to see honesty. I want to hear someone say something like this. Climate change is a problem, okay? But we can't just ban fossil fuels overnight. There are people who rely on this to feed their families. We do not have the ability for a massive economic overhaul in this way. Our best solutions may be nuclear energy. We need to recognize that the energy return on investment for fossil fuels is absolutely remarkable, but it is destructive in the long run. Energy independence is important, and doing right by our environment is important as well. So let's figure out the real way forward, and it may be nuclear energy. Instead, what do we get? Posturing, pandering. You get Democrats saying no nuclear, ban fossil fuels. I never said ban fossil fuels. You get liars. Just be honest. Just say it. Why can't the Democrats say, if they truly believe climate change is a problem, say climate change is a very serious problem, we got to move quickly. But I understand we can't ban fossil fuels outright. We can't ban fracking outright. It has helped us become energy independent. So we will try and figure out market competition solutions, incentives, and things we can do to become more powerful in terms of the international market, in terms of our ability to produce our own energy. Instead, it's just bunk BS. Now, to be completely honest, I think the Republicans on the right are closer to being reasonable than the Democrats are. The Democrats just lie. So I can't take it, man. I've had enough of this. And if it means Donald Trump, then so be it. But when they call for abolishing the Constitution and critical race theory stuff, that, you know what, I can easily walk in and hit the Trump button. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. That is my main channel. Check it out, and I will see you all then.